You can do everything right. She'll want something. Good the day that you say is
So I said it wasn't.
what you do? What are you doing to these people? We're on Zoom. You better. Too many hits.
We have a Zoom to start.
Hey guys. Hey guys. We don't know where Council be. All right. Who's singing? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Yeadon Borough Council, February 8th. This is our caucus/workshop meeting, and we will begin with a Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Secretary, can you please begin our roll call, beginning with our esteemed mayor?
All right, Madam President, Mayor Hempkins,
Present.
President Monroe,
Present.
Vice President Rollcloud,
President.
Councilor Trueheart,
Present.
Councilor Beatty,
Present.
Councilor Peets,
Present.
Councilor Johnson, Kilkenny Law Firm,
Present.
Benoni Engineering,
Present.
Tax Collector Hughes,
Present.
Finance Director Nichols, present. Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Our next item is our citizens forum. I don't see any forms that have come in, but it does appear that we may have a presentation.
We have a.
Is that after citizens forum? Where is that?
That is after citizens forum, yes. It's under the President's report.
It's under the president's report. All right. So are there any citizens wishing to speak? No forms? Guys, keep it interesting. All right. This is fun. All right. So next we will move on to Mayor Hopkins.
That's pretty quick. Just a couple of things. My report stands as submitted. A couple of things on the score. The next mayor's forum will be March 7th, Thursday, March 7th. Dr. B. Coates, the superintendent of William Penn School District, has agreed to come out. We've been trying to get him for a couple of months, and that's the next available time he has. I didn't ask him for that day. He couldn't come today, and he's unavailable for next week's legislative meeting. So he said March 7th was the first time, the first public meeting he could attend. So please come out. I'm going to go down my list. He's going to address those questions of the access to the new facility for Yeadon residents, policing the field by our officers, if we could underwrite some of that preference of Saturday mornings rather than Friday evenings for football games to get a less rowdier crowd. The very important, something's developing. The William Penn School District was a partner in the lawsuit against the state, citing an unfair funding formula that we're underfunded and it's unconstitutional the way they're funding the schools. And the courts agreed. So right now, the governor and the state legislators are figuring out how to meet that judgment and what it will mean, that they have to generate other income to fund the schools. There's going to be millions of dollars added to I think he said $1 billion. But anyway, to the overall education budget. And that will result in William Penn School District receiving a big increase. And our question to him and to our school board members, which I am inviting also to the mayor's forum, is what will that mean for tax relief? Could it result in tax relief for some of our residents, especially our elderly who do not have or fixed incomes and don't have children in the school? So anyway, that's a discussion that we need to have, and we're going to start by asking him that question. There is an ordinance to ban ski masks that we have in Yeadon. I know that that's been advertised, Colleen?
Yes, sir.
So I believe that will be ready to be voted upon next week?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Police staffing, we're up to full staffing finally for first time in several years. I want to thank the counselors for being proactive in that. Of course, the Civil Service Commission and Chief Gianmarco for this. It could go very easily and straightforwardly when we all work together. And we saw an example of that in this new administration. Holding cells normalization. As you know, we've had problems with the holding cell. We had 2 suicides last year, which necessitated a complete review. It's been upgraded. We've had new audio-visual monitors to state-of-the-art monitors. And it's been reviewed by 3 chiefs of police, a new layout, as well as our insurance carrier has taken a look, and they all gave their blessings that they feel it's up to snuff now to readmit or to start up using the holding cells for temporary prisoners before they could be remanded to another jurisdiction. The final piece is to upgrade our policy, and Chief Gianmarco has done that. I've taken a look at it. This looks good, and I've given that over to our solicitor and also our counselors to have a look at it before we go live. We'd like to do that next week if possible. The chief says that it just takes a lot of time and effort, and we waste man hours to remand the prisoners to right now's Upper Darby, and he'd like to get it back in order as soon as possible. But anyway, that's the goal. But we'd like also the counselors. I think some counselors have taken a look downstairs. But when you get a chance, take a look downstairs to see the improvements before. I want everybody to be on the same page before we go live. But anyway, that's the proposed timeline. And the other thing is, many of you may know, but former Yeadon Borough Councilor Jack Byrne passed away this past week. He was 85. He was a leader in this community. He oversaw a lot of changes in the demographics and politics, and he was one of the leaders who helped spearhead the old Yeadon into new Yeadon. I believe he lived on the same street as Tony Trueheart, was the neighbor of Tony, Councilor Tony Trueheart. He was I called him a gentle giant. He was very brilliant, very committed, consistent, and he worked for not just the Democratic Party, but he worked for this borough tirelessly. And his funeral will be held at St. Louis Catholic Church on West Cobbs Creek on tomorrow. Viewing will be from 9:30 to 11 a.m. with the service to follow at 11 a.m. And in his memory, we will do a proclamation and we will lower the flag for half-staff in his honor, being he was an elected official and in great standing and helped us transition from the old Yeadon to the new Yeadon, and was also one of the founders of Town Watch. So over the weekend, we'll lower the flag at half-staff in his memory, I think, as well. Very well deserved. Didn't always agree with Jack, but he was a great guy and quite a gentleman and a great leader for the borough. Everybody, I believe, knows about the incident yesterday, unfortunate incident in East Lansdowne, where a family was felled by this tragedy, and two officers were shot, one from East Lansdowne and the other from Lansdowne. Our officers immediately backed up those officers, and Chief, they're one of the first people on the scene. I'll let you take over on that. That ends my report, but why don't you, could you just give an update on where we are with that? Yeah, this is a little unusual, so we'll just allow that.
We arrived. As we arrived, we came in off of Baltimore Avenue. Myself, Detective Leah Sesnick, Sergeant Jay Houghton, and Tony Johnson, and two other officers. We as we got on scene, without going into too much detail, we were able to secure the back of the house as Upper Darby was able to position themselves and make the rescue. We stayed out there the whole time. We were out there, unfortunately, when the fire started to burn, and we watched everything come down. So our officers did a great job. My number one concern at that point was our officer safeties. We all had I know there was people asking why stuff wasn't put out, and I'm trying to figure out if they could tell me how to hold the Glock in my hand and keep my other hand and focused on the house. That's why information wasn't put out at that point. My number one concern was the safety of the people in that house, the safety of the officers on scene. Then after that happened, then when we had a chance to breathe, we had officers out there who were visibly shaken. So at that point, we got with FOP, Lodge 27, we're able to get them counseling. We're able to get our officers counseling immediately. So that was our concern last night. And I was in contact with Mr. Mayor and with Mr. Nafis too, just to let them know what was going on. But it was a situation that you don't think it can happen. It can happen anywhere. We learned a lot of lessons of that. Upper Darby had shields to deploy, so it was great. Shields are ballistic shields. They were able to utilize shields, and it was just, everyone did a great job. Unfortunately, you don't want to see any loss of life. There was a little girl in there, 11. That's how the call came out. You hear these calls, person with a gun, and you're like, yeah, somebody's calling to get the cops. As we're going up the hill, all of a sudden we hear the dispatcher comes over and says, the call taker hears shots in the background. So something's active. As we're going, we just banged the left on Baltimore, and that's when we hear the officer screaming out, I've been shot. And I'm telling you right now, 28 years on his job, you hear that, and it's something you hear. And now responsible for 21 people downstairs, and it's something that you live with every day. And getting there, when we got out of the car, when I tell you, and I've worked in Kensington, I'm used to gunfire. I lived in Philly my whole life. Unfortunately, I'm used to gunfire. And the people who live close to Philly is used to gunfire. But when you hear that, the rapid succession of gunfire, you know what's going on. But the officers did a great job. I mean, everyone did a great job. So
We want to thank you. Thank you very much, Chief, and the police department, everybody did yeoman's job to rally around. That's how we work in Delaware County. We support each other. When there's a call, every available cop, especially in the heightened alert of that nature, everybody converge, all the law enforcement officers in the area converges on the scene. And we were one of the first there to back up those officers, and there was still gunfire when you arrived, right, Chief? Yeah, yeah, so.
I'm sorry, may I ask a question? Madam Chairman. Chief, my concern with the horrendous situation is, do, first of all, our officers who were on scene, but then I'm thinking of the officers and the first responders from East Lansdowne and Lansdowne. Do they need the support of the chaplains? Because I cannot imagine standing there watching this go on and knowing I can't do anything to save these people in the house.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. We'll talk offline.
Okay.
But we have a great crisis, and I believe the crisis intervention point, I went through my family and just even prior to that, and their last 27 is great. I mean, they were there, and I saw, and you can just know, you saw someone walking around, and I'm not gonna mention, he's not.
Chief,
He's not.
we're on
I'm
Zoom,
sorry.
so
I'm sorry.
for the benefit of the people in the audience.
And we immediately, myself and the other chiefs noticed someone walking around with the deer in the headlight stares after everything kind of not calmed down, but the fire department was able to do their job. And so we grabbed him and brought him back here immediately and start debriefing him, because it's something that, people can go through their whole career and never have, God willing, never pull a gun out or never hear that. But I would definitely get with you offline, because the chaplain would be a great resource.
Any other questions at this time? Okay, thank you very much. There ends my report, Madam President.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and we'll certainly keep all of the law enforcement and family in our thoughts and prayers. And Chief, if there any other way that we can support our officers, please do let us know.
Oh, one other thing. So one officer was released today from the hospital. The other officer is undergoing surgery, but should be released tomorrow, I believe. So thank God it wasn't any worse. It could very easily, as bad as this job was, it could have easily been much worse. They did recover, I believe, 3 bodies today. So far, they believe 3 others are still in the burnt out home, but they haven't recovered the other 3 bodies yet. Although there were some reports that there were 6, but it's actually 3, with the expectation that they may find 3 more. So that's where. Yes, Council.
I'm going to speak up. I know the family, they're from Yeadon originally. The family, the parents, which would be the grandparents of the victim. The young lady was married to an Asian gentleman, so her family, the McLaughlins, are from Yeadon. They used to live on Block Avenue, so I know the grandparents of the deceased. So just keep that family in prayer. Also, they were members of my church, so I did not find that out till this morning, so that's a lot. So just keep the family in prayer. When we look at the news, sometimes we see, that's a shame, these bodies, these are people with families, and kind of hit home because they were from this town. Well, the grandparents, not necessarily the family that lived in the house. So just keep the McLaughlins, if you are a person of faith, in your prayers, because the father who is dealing with his grandchildren and his daughter being killed by her in-law, her brother-in-law, and he lost his wife in 2021 due to COVID. So it's a lot. So just keep that family in your prayers.
Thank you, Councilor.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Now we will move on to our president's report. Our first order of business is a long time coming. We recognize the importance of the work that's done here for this community, and we know that people need to be here for this community. So our next order of business, I'm asking for a motion to consider accepting the resignation of Counselor Carlette Brooks from Yeadon Borough Council.
I make a motion to accept her resignation from Counselor Brooks.
Second.
Having been moved and properly second on the question, hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
President Monroe,
Yes.
Vice President Rollcloud,
Yes.
Counselor Beatty,
Yes.
Counselor Peets,
Yes.
Counselor Truart.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous. That motion carries. In preparation for this resignation, we have asked for submissions of letters of interest from community members to fill this vacancy. We will be accepting those letters until tomorrow, close of business, and this council will make an appointment for a replacement. This also brings me to realize that Councilor Johnson's not here. And I know that I spoke with her yesterday, and she actually called me and wanting to ask questions about the event that happened yesterday. So did you receive any information about her absence for today? She was telling me that she noticed all of the police activity on her way to the post office. Is she okay?
When she spoke to me yesterday, she was just concerned with the situation, but she didn't mention if she was going to attend tonight or not. So no, I didn't hear.
So in the same vein that we've asked other counselors who've abandoned their role with our community to resign, I'm going to ask that our solicitor extend our quo bronto letter to Counselor Johnson as well. If we're going to accept this role that our constituents have elected us to serve, we need to be here. Showing up is important. All right. On that note, I believe then our presentation regarding 404 Industry Park Drive project is up next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm just going to ask that you speak into the microphone because we do have people on Zoom.
Yes, if I can just have a moment, I want to set up.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. And while we're getting set up, I'll just move on to item C for now. Just, it's not on your, on the agenda, but I just wanted to make the announcement that the personnel committee met this evening to discuss some personnel matters within the borough, our ongoing vacancy for our borough manager position. Hopefully we've come up with a solution that would alleviate Mr. Nichols some of his million hats, although we are thankful that he is willing to serve all of them. But the personnel committee did meet, and we're looking forward to some positive changes here in Yeadon.
I'd like to set it up so that people in the audience will also be able to see possible this way. So, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Shimon Guy of Guy Engineering. I am here to represent Philly's best steak company that you are probably familiar with. They have facilities in Abu Dhabi at the end of Industrial Park Drive, and now a new building in Yeadon, this 404 Industrial Park Drive. They have been in good standing with the community for many years, and they are very happy to come here. And I would like to invite Mr. Akranis, the president of the company, to say a few words about the company, about the facility. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zafiris Akranis. I'm the president of Philly's Best Steak. I don't know how close I have to stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are, we're a family-owned business, the second generation. It's me, my brother, and my sister running the company. My parents are recently retired, and one of the cool opportunities we have in this transition is we get to expand the business. So we've had the opportunity from our parents. We have blessings to continue to grow. And so that kind of led us into this opportunity. We needed to expand our footprint to continue to provide the amount of product we need for our customers. So sales are good. And so we've needed additional space. And last year around June, we acquired 404 Industrial, which is up the street from our, I don't know if it's Upper Darby or Yeadon, but it's Yeadon address properties. We have two properties, 610 Industrial and 619 that we occupy, and this is now our third. And the goal here is for us to do a renovation to the facility, and it kind of led us to where we are today, having to look at the options of perhaps tearing it down and building up, a new cold storage manufacturing plant. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. This is the project. Our hope is to bring jobs to the community, bring additional income to the community, and participate and continue to grow in this community that we've called our home for the last 25 years. So, yeah. That's all I got. It's good. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for me?
So yes, just for the benefit of the people on Zoom as well as the people here, can you tell us what we're looking at?
Yes, absolutely. And the engineer.
I will describe the plan.
Perfect. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I will say is this is the existing facility. It's approximately 40,000 square feet. And what we're looking to do with the facility is it's
Maybe I can.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyway, they acquired the existing building that was owned by a company that left. The other things that now the plan is to renovate the building, change it a little bit, and I will describe how, and operate it, and which at least I believe it will be a great asset to the community.
Okay, so what activity is going to happen in this building?
Perfect.
Well, I have a series of questions, so we'll start with that one. What type of activity will happen in this building that you're proposing? Yes.
So we're a Philly steak manufacturer, so we're a meat processor. We specialize in making Philly steak products. So it's like the deli meats you buy in the supermarket, you kind of do the same thing. Thin slice, portion controlled beef and chicken products that we sell through food service primarily. And so the facility would be an extension of our processing space. We would be doing slicing and packaging and shipping out of this facility. It's generally just expanding our processing capabilities. We are reaching capacity in our other facilities, so that's what this facility will accomplish for us.
So for my benefit, when you say processing, at what stage are we processing? Are we talking live animals?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, great question. We're
No one else thought about that?
Yeah, no butchering. It's just we buy beef just like you would in the supermarket. If you buy a roast in the supermarket, very much like that, like the big roast. We buy that in bulk, and we process that at our 619 facility, which is at the end of the Industrial Park Drive. We turn that into logs, and it's basically like a formed meat block. And then from that, we take that product and we slice it. And when we slice it for portion control. So when we have Philly steaks, we sell to our owner-operator restaurants, that product is portion controlled. So that way they're always serving the same size sandwich. And so we do all that work at our plants. But no, it's actually pretty clean. I invite you guys to come see it if you like. But this would be a state-of-the-art slicing and processing facility.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, in your presentation, you mentioned bringing jobs and income into our community. Tell me how you plan to do that.
Well, we're expanding our employee base by doing this. So, we would be putting out job openings for the community. We use recruiters typically, and we either do an industrial park drive. They do like a stop, and they have like a bus that they bring in with like the full recruiting. We've done that a few times, but generally speaking, it'd be like processing jobs, slicing operators, forklift operators, administration roles. Yeah, but all primarily through recruiters.
And how many jobs do you think that?
Tough to say. Could be anywhere from 30 to 50
30 to
positions.
50.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it really just depends on the capacity. So the facility is designed to, have up to 50, 60 employees. At the beginning, it would be less, and as we grow, we would scale up.
Okay. And then, how would you target those jobs to our Yeadon residents?
How? Well, we could do it through the paper, but the recruiters have their own methods, and then we typically pay the recruiters to post the jobs, do the screening interviews, make recommendations, and then we host the in-person interviews. That's how we've done it in the past, at least.
Okay. And then do we know what was the business that was there previously?
They were like a design, like a studio design company. They made stages and lighting. They had, it was like a storage facility. They had some carpentry and things like that.
Mhm.
That's the extent at which I know their scope of work.
Okay. So, is anything that you're doing in your facility, would that affect, have an environmental impact on our community? Because it seems like the previous business didn't have much processing, but more building. So,
Yeah. So, from an environmental standpoint, are you asking me what, like, waste we would produce, or is there,
so waste, if there is any cooking, if there's smoke, if there are any
Perfect.
filters, all of those things, like what
Got
type
it.
of environment, what's going to be different in our community with you there now?
got it. Arguably, and you want to.
Just
Yeah, sure. So the only thing that I would say is a waste product is the wash down. So when we wash our machines at the end of the shift, there's and no different than the sinks at home, where there's like meat products and things like that going down the drains. We have a grease trap that we would install, and the grease trap collects all the solids, and only water goes to the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only I would say environmental component. Everything else is in the facility, and it's all raw. There's no cooking. It's just slicing raw product and packaging it.
Mm-hmm. So you have all of the proper backflow prevention devices to keep
There will
your.
be, yeah.
Okay.
All that's going to be through the
Say that.
engineering process. All the proper backflow prevention, and we've done a geotechnical survey. We've done 2 environmental phases, 1 and 2. We've gone through various surveying for structural support members and how the level of soil quality that's required in order to how strong the structure needs to be. I'm probably not the best person to speak to it, but that's why we brought Mr. Shimon here too. But yeah, all that is part of the build process, and one of the benefits of doing a new construction is you go through the whole code process and the permitting process and the construction process. So everything would be up to a certain standard that doesn't exist today, quite frankly. The building is 65 years old. It's in no condition to support a business like ours. And that's the challenge we have is we want to expand in this area, this community, but we can't do it in the existing facility. Just for perspective, we actually can't hang anything from the ceiling because the way that it was designed back in the 60s wasn't strong enough to support anything being hung from the ceiling. They had never taken that into consideration. So we wouldn't be able to hang any refrigeration, any paneling, any of the processing components that we need.
And so this would be your 3rd facility in Yeadon?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any community service that your company provides that's specific to Yeadon? Sounds like you're occupying a good deal of our industrial park real estate.
Yeah, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Other than just the job opportunities, really. and being good tenants of the properties and good hosts. That's it.
Okay. Well, Councilor Beatty's chair of the Recreation Committee. I'm sure she can help you with that. Councilor Beatty, you had a question as well? Thank you.
Say, you probably are already aware, since it's your third building, that there is no business tax here in Yeadon. So my question to you would be to think about how we can get back to the community outside of what you already doing. If there's a way for you to, in addition to possibly providing new jobs, we have things going on in our community, like some of the stuff we have coming up soon, to think of how you can benefit Yeadon, especially since you're building so much here. So just, and we'll be in contact, I'm sure, in the future about how you can expand sometime in the near future.
Understood.
And
Happy to help.
And I would love to see you like partner with kind of Votech in our area to see, to build up the next generation. It's a family business, I know, but like being able to expand, maybe something with, internships with our high school students. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit serves the greater Delaware County, so you would have access to, and, just from a business perspective, you could have a pipeline of employees and maybe pay your recruiter a little less.
I actually have a question. I actually have two questions. Thank you. My first question, how long will it take before this project is completed?
So depending on when we start, it's about a year timeline for construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the second question is, would you be amenable to having some sort of job fair in Yeadon?
Yes.
Okay. Because I believe we did that once before with another company that came in and they did a job fair here in the borough.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have done them before. I just don't. The exact process was we posted it in the newspaper. I just don't remember if it was Yeadon or if it was Delaware County or some other news. I have no idea. But I remember the truck coming, and we did it right on Industrial Park Drive. So it was pretty neat. But yes.
Okay. All right.
All right. So make sure to leave us your information because I'd love to take a tour of your facility.
You said you're going to rebuild the building. Is it going to be essentially the same physical size as the current building, or?
It will be slightly less. Actually, we're
Okay.
reducing the size of the building.
You're not going to build a skyscraper.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I just want to,
No.
okay, basically the same.
Yeah.
Ish.
For these positions, what is the hourly wage? And you talked about shifts, so how many shifts are you going to have there?
So we're planning on having 2 shifts, a day shift and a later shift. The exact hours aren't defined yet. Hourly wages are typically in industry standard. Our employees right now are anywhere from forklift operators can be $18 an hour to $20 an hour, and then general labor can be $14, $15 an hour. So that's pretty typical in our space. So, and then the benefit that we have too, just for the record, is the facility being outside of Philadelphia. You also have people that look at this area now as an opportunity for them to not have the city tax. So it could bring more folks out of the city and into the area. But just for the record, it's always something that I like calling out. For you, sure. Yeah. Home out of Philly, very merry.
All righty.
That was one of the important things for us, was we did not want to leave the community. We wanted to stay here. I would consider us still a small business, but we are growing. We have high hopes to continue growing. And so, any partnership that we could do, I'm happy to discuss.
Okay. And we'll have one more question from the audience, and then we'll get Councilor Peets. Ma'am.
What is like the demographics of your current employees?
Demographics?
Meaning like race, age, stuff like that. What? Gender.
Gender, I would say pretty balanced, just from the locker rooms that I have. I think it's the separation of locker rooms. Race, it's diversified. I'd say, it's African American, Latinos, whites,
Percentage wise.
Asian.
I'm talking about percentage wise.
I could not answer that.
Not even a guess.
Well, we wouldn't want them to guess. We would want some accurate information. I can say that I think that we came here to present a project, not necessarily have our employment information readily available, but maybe you all can exchange information and you can, or you can direct to a website where that information might be available.
Absolutely, and I'm sure my HR generalist could answer some of this question better. I could tell you that, our project is focused on expanding into the community. And so that will hopefully bring folks in from the community. So that's the best I can share today.
Okay.
Compare it to, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Pete?
Just have a
Have
quick,
one more, Councilor.
just have a quick statement to say that in 2004, when I got out the Marine Corps, your father, Odie, right?
Odie.
Yeah, Odie.
That's my dad.
That was my first job that I got after I got out of the Marine Corps. And so I worked for you guys for a few months. So I'm not familiar with how you guys are now. You guys obviously expanded since, but and just relay to your father that Jesse Pete, or Councilor Jesse Pete, sends his regards.
I will. And stop on by. He comes every once in a while. But yeah, please.
I'd love to see him.
I will. Jesse Pete's.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Councilor Peace will be recusing himself from any votes related to this incident. Very good. Full transparency. Thank you, Councilor Peace. All right.
I will say this: if you've had a Philly steak, in the area, you've definitely eaten one made at our facilities. So we're really proud. It's all we do. We do it well. We've been doing it for 30 years, and we're excited to just keep growing this. Leo's, yep. Leo's has been our partner, Steve, for 15 years. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to add to what Mr. Kans just said. I've been working with his dad for years. And years ago, when I was involved in some work, some development at 619, at the end of the Caucus, when they started to discuss about the need to grow. And his dad stated they would like to stay in the area. And actually, it's a nice idea. This is the atmosphere of this family. They want to get more involved, to stay, to develop in this community. And I think this is an asset, rather than go somewhere. So,
If it's not an asset, we'll definitely make it an asset.
I have some interesting ideas.
Great.
So, again, I'm sorry not all of you are able to see this. So anyway, the existing building has been standing there for a long time. As Mr. Kani said, needs some renovation in order to be able to be used to the future needs. So there will be, this plan is a site plan which indicates what the building and site will look like from the outside. So the old building has some non-conformities, let's call it that way, with the current codes. For example, there is a code that requires the building to occupy not more than 30% of the site area. The existing building is more than that. It is actually 55%, and so we'll be reducing the size a little bit. So we are not increasing this non-conformity. There are other two non-conformities. One is the front yard along roads, and one is a side yard, which is down here, and they are a little less than what is required. We are not increasing, and we are not adding to this non-conformity. One other thing you can see in this plan that we are redoing, revising the open area here for parking, for loading. Right now, there isn't enough. We are also improving the parking facility. There are also existing parking spaces along Providence Road that are actually mostly inside the site, but partly outside. They will continue to be used. We are also will be adding some landscaping, like some green space to the site. Sanitary and water facilities. There are a sanitary sewer and a water main already in Industrial Park Drive. So the building is already connected to them. There is no need to change anything at this point, so we'll keep using them. The bigger issue is stormwater management. There is currently no stormwater management facility on this site because back in the 60s or when it wasn't required, so nobody did that. Even though we are reducing the size of the building and reducing the total impervious surface, we are proposing stormwater management. And let me show you another plan.
Also, just to clarify, we have, as the borough engineer, we have reviewed the plans twice, and at this point, they have addressed all of our comments. So anything he's talking about has been, revised and reviewed, just to clarify.
Council, there is a full report for your review. I think everything's been satisfied by our borough engineer at this point, just that point.
This plan here is the grading plan and the stormwater plan. There are other profiles, details, whatnot, I can show you. See? If you can see this hatched area here, that represents the proposed stormwater facility that we are proposing, which will actually be, I'm showing you. Line of water inside that bed, and then it will be covered by pavement, and you will not see anything other than tops of manholes, inlets, stuff like that. So the runoff will go to inlets, area drains, trench drains, whatever. For instance, here are the loading docks, and they will be sloped because the bottom of the surface will need to be 4 feet below the floor. That's the difference between the size, the height of the truck and the building level. So we will need to drain them and get the water out into this bed. So the water will go into here. One of the issues is that there is no existing storm sewer in this region. Down here, this is the Yeadon Community Park, and there is no storm sewer there. There is a storm sewer way down below, but we are far away from that. So right now, everything simply washes onto the park. So basically, this bed is designed so that all the runoff for the vast majority of storms, and we're talking about statistical storms, most of the storms that occur are, what is called 1 year storm, 2 year storm, and they happen many times, right? 100-year storm is something that rarely occurs. Not necessarily once in 100 years, but rare, all right? So only in such a big storm, 100 years, slightly even 50 years, there will be some water that will come out of it. and it will come out that three, storm units located here, the one under, so those circumstances, in such a big storm, the water will rise to the top, spill out a little bit, it will not cause any effect, and that everything else will infiltrate into the time. It will be stored in that bed and then go.
And thank you for that information. I think if we have this information with the engineer, one thing that we most certainly can do and will do, I think council satisfied with the report that they have is place this on our website, allow our residents to review it and offer comment before next Thursday's meeting.
And if anybody has a question, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
So, just in case, during construction, find out that it's lower than that, you can always revisit it.
We're good. Sir? Sir, I think what the borough manager is saying, all those provisions have been vetted through the engineer as jurisdiction over those provisions, so we're covered. So thank you very much.
I'm happy to hear, however, how seriously you're taking the stormwater issue, because there's many buildings in industrial parks that are running sump pumps out of their basements into the streets. And as you pointed out, there's no sewer, stormwater inlet, and water from sump wells is not supposed to be getting drained into the stormwater inlets anyway, because we're in a creek watershed, as we know from Mr. Hunter's hangups.
So that is why we are.
So very pleased with.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Make sure you get us your information so we can schedule a tour. All right. We will be moving on to our manager's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't have a whole lot because the actual directors of departments will be reporting out. The major thing that I would like to discuss, or for your consideration at next week's meeting, there will be an application to use the substation parking lot for the Yeadon Economic Development Committee to host a shredding event.
I'm sorry,
A shredding event.
shredding?
Shredding.
Shredding.
I'm sorry. But the application, once submitted, will be disseminated to all members of council for your consideration. Meetings are now on Zoom, both caucus and legislative meetings. Tonight's meeting is actually on Zoom. So people who aren't able to come into the borough, the link will always be on the site in advance for you to participate via Zoom. So you can see what's happening here in real time. We're encouraging residents and asking residents for patience as we're in the process of getting all of our social media sites up and running. As some of you may know, we had 4 Facebook pages, 2 Twitter accounts, 3 Instagrams,
And a partridge in a pear tree.
So, so we're streamlining all that stuff so that we can have the official outlets for the borough of Yeadon. So we ask for your patience. Everything else that I have to discuss really is related to legal matters and personnel matters that I would like to schedule in an executive session with the full body of council in the near future so that we can discuss. There ends my report, Madam President.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
The shredding event, we already have an event through Public Works, correct?
Yes, but this is something that they specifically want to do. Again, I told them that I will bring it to you for your consideration.
Okay.
All right. We are moving on to our solicitor's report.
We're working with the mayor on his excellent idea about the big event we mentioned about next week. Working on an ordinance for dumpsters. I think we have that. We've got that written up, I think, in the next one.
Yep.
It's very, okay, so that's gonna be good. Is there any other ordinance you want to look at? Let me know. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Where are we with the issue with the structural harm? So I've been speaking to, also how we left. And I think that's gonna take my notes. We did ask him to get a price for about an amount to take the building down, and he's still able to achieve that. So I think we're gonna have to present the capital.
And Madam Solicitor, I am waiting for Chief Social Planning to give us ideas detail recently to who addressed the situation before that we had, I believe on Yeadon Avenue or Church Lane years ago.
No, Church,
Yeadon Avenue years ago. So we were reaching out to that vendor. We're just waiting for the quote.
And we have communicated, I've sent several notices to the owner and he has not responded, so I think we're gonna have to take next steps on that.
Okay, but we're gonna take the steps, correct? We're going to take the steps.
Well, the steps would be to condemn the building.
Right.
Is that the step you would like to take? Would you want more information? That would be the next step.
I think we should get a report so we can,
Okay.
know.
Get an engineer's report?
Is it in an engineer's report?
We have an engineer's report.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not, it's uninhabitable.
Well, then it is what it is, right?
I think it's the next step is do we have to condemn
The next step is that we have to condemn, which again, that process was going to start prior to the department. But we do also, we're waiting for the quote. The last time we did utilize county aid dollars, their demo dollars
Right.
to take the parcel down. But we need documentation before we can submit that application to the
Right.
That's what we need.
All right.
We need a report to the value and cost to take the building down.
Okay.
That would be a smarter first step and before you condemn, because you may have funds that could achieve that.
Okay.
But that's where we're stuck.
All right. But we're doing it. We're actively working on getting whatever we need to.
Actually, I'll tell you something, Sean Kilkenny had me talking to that code officer almost every day before he left.
Right.
And he had like a list of things that he checked up on. There's a list, there was also the cemetery. So there's many things we were looking at. That was the number one.
Right.
I think it's the report and Neffy, how can we get that report?
We have that, Megan, do we not? 725 firm?
728.
No, I'm aware of that one. I was
Joe
aware of
did.
another one.
Joe did that report, right, Mike?
How old is this property? Because there was one we did right before the holidays.
This is from October, Mike?
Yes,
I will have to go back and review what we did and did not do. We could obviously generate a condition report if we need to.
I think it needs to be amended because I think it was at the fence of we need to condemn the property.
Okay, we'll review, yeah.
there's definitely a structural engineer on this job.
Yes, there is. But we need we need the cost. We need to know what it will cost to take the building down. How do we get that? How do we get that?
That's the quote that we're waiting.
That's what we need. But we don't even have anyone to ask to do that.
No, the ask is made.
excuse me, I apologize, that's where I thought.
Okay, so we are actively taking the steps to get the information that we need to keep this process moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah, may I ask a question? So is the owner, involved with this or just totally uninvolved?
No, the owner, for the most part, has cut communication with the borough. He turned it over to the insurance company. The insurance company walked away as well.
Right.
The last that we heard from the owner is that the property was put on the market for sale. He had two potential investors that was going to come in, purchase the property from him, and they had the means to fix it. We can't wait for that. So that's when we started this process.
Right. Now, do we have to, since he is not being cooperative, insurance is not going to be involved in order to step in and then condemn it because it's a hazard now? Do we have to take it over as eminent domain? Is that something that the borough needs to do?
That's what the borough needs to do.
Okay. And then, and I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, then we would be able to apply for grant funding from the county to pay for, to cover having it
Correct.
demolished. Okay.
What about the building on Chester Avenue?
Is that 1100 Chester Avenue? It's like a mini strip mall.
Yes.
What he did was he told the owner to put up construction fencing around around that area. That was supposed to occur. That's what he told me just yesterday before he left. So I will make sure that happened.
Well, we were told that because it has no roof and the bricks are not sturdy, that it's in danger of collapsing as well. So I don't.
Then maybe that would require, probably, I don't know, do we have a report on that property? 1100,
So 1100 Chester was part of a land development, but that is currently on hold because of sewer capacity. I was not aware of a demolition.
That was a conversation with Mr. Kilkenny and Rufus. So we should circle back. I wasn't a part of their last conversation.
my last conversation was he was gonna put construction fencing, or tell the owner to put construction fencing around it, because he thought it was a danger.
So the construction fencing is a temporary fix, a very temporary fix, a fix that I wouldn't even call it a fix. I would say a temporary measure until we can take appropriate action. A fence should be up for no more than 7 days. A fence should go up tomorrow, and a fence should be there no more than 7 days, and we should have some type of resolution. This building is caving in. There is no roof. It is structurally unsafe. So we need to do something about it immediately. And we're not waiting for someone to get hurt for this to happen.
Mr. Code Officer.
Something here, I'll read it through this, director says, it says, 11.
I'm sorry. Could you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Inspector Andy Giuliano, I work with you guys.
No, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Giuliano. I don't believe I've ever met you in person. Okay. Hello.
Hello. So, the city's here at 1100 to 1108 Chester Avenue, property posted the notice sent out, we have plans submitted to the borough for repair or demolition by February 8th. If not received, condensed the process will start. So, I'm not sure if they were received yet. So I guess I'll check with Mr. Wormley tomorrow, and I guess it starts the process then, what director shows up here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So solicitor.
Yes.
So I guess at this point, we just have to join, get together and let the left hand know what the right hand's doing.
That's true. I did
Because,
speak to the code officer just before he left on his hospitalization.
oh, okay.
And Madam Solicitor, maybe tomorrow we'll schedule a meeting with Mr. Wormley
Okay.
and Ms. Criswell, myself, and we can make sure that everything is flowing appropriately.
We all on the same wavelength here. Yeah. I think those are the only two buildings that were like priority.
Right.
Right there.
That's not
I
something.
don't think we can say that here. I can tell you, but not right here.
Okay. All right. there anything else for your report?
No, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So just in summary, 725 and 1100, 725 Fern, is it 725 or 8?
725.
725 Fern and 1100 Chester Avenue. We should have some answers.
We'll report back next Thursday for the public.
Okay, thank you. Next, we are moving to our tax collectors report. You can report from there. It's more convenient. You're close.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I want to report that the books for 2023 are closed. Any other persons who have not paid their 2023 taxes, they are now considered delinquent, and you'll be hearing from the collection agencies. Before the books close, however, from January 13th to January 31st, we collected $7,996.29. For the year from February 5th, 2023 until January 31st, 2024, we collected $6,287,101.37. The 2024 bills are out. They're in the mail. Some of you may have already received your bill. If your mortgage company is supposed to pay your bill, please call your mortgage company and ask them if they received it and make sure they're doing what they need to do to pay it. We can't control what mail they receive. We can only control that we send it out. Please note, tax office does not accept cash payments. Lots of people want to bring me cash. I don't even know why they walk around with that much money, cash, but I'm not receiving cash. You need to have something that you can backtrack to, and you can't backtrack the cash that I spend at Boscov's. Make sure you include your folio number on your payments. Bounce checks require a fee of $50 payable to the borough. If you leave a payment in the nail slot on the door, make sure that you leave your name and phone number on it. Borough tax payments cannot be accepted in installments. The tax office is open as it has been for the last 2 years, Mondays and Wednesdays, 10 to 2. And I reported last time, but I want to report again about the property tax or rent rebate income eligibility has been raised for the homeowner and the renter to $45,000 a year. And the maximum rebate has also been raised to $1,000. This rebate is good for seniors and disabled that fit the qualifications. Any questions?
Just upon that clarity, Madam Tax Collector, the number you gave was the total amount collected that included real estate tract. Right. I don't want anyone to think that we collected $6 million in taxes.
Okay, I can break it down for you next time.
Thank you very much. Does that end your report?
That ends my report.
Thank you. Our engineers report. The chatty school kids in the back.
Good evening. I have 2 items. First one, so for 404 Industrial, just confirming you don't need them here next week for any additional questions. If you're going to vote, I just want to make sure, because I will tell them if so.
So I don't believe that it was, what are we voting on?
The approval of the land development.
Okay. All right. Or we'll let you know midweek after we have a chance to
That's fine.
review it in front of us.
That's
all right.
I'll let you know. And then I believe we'll have to do a resolution of approval at that time. So I'll work with manager and the solicitor to do that if we're moving forward next week.
Yes.
And then the following items are just 4 upcoming grants I want to bring to your attention. If there is a project that you feel fits the demographic and you would want to move forward with an application. The first one is the Transportation and Community Development Initiative. Those grants are due March 27th, and the applications are geared towards either transportation improvements, but a lot of times studies towards transportations, or ordinance-based updates for planning. So I think there was a few asks of that, so I wanted to put that out in front of you. That opportunity is currently open. The second one is Natural Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Those grants are due March 21st, and there's opportunities to conserve, restore, and protect habitats. The next one is the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources grant, which is due April 3rd. That is currently where the community park grant was funded, a portion of that grant was funded through, and that is for park and recreation, land acquisition, trails, and planning. And the last one is the Department of Community and Economic Development, Act 13 grants, which are due May 31st, and opportunities are available for greenways, parks, trails, and watershed restoration, and flood mitigation, which I did not write up. So I wanted to bring that up. Some of them are months away, but if there's opportunities you want to explore, we can start those applications.
Okay. Are there, thank you for letting us know what they are. I do think that it might be helpful if maybe there were some recommendations that came along with them. For instance, like when you say transportation, that doesn't quite resonate if you kind of have a bird's eye view of what's going on in our town, and you say that maybe like the transportation can help you revive your bus shelters or to do to this about what's necessary. But I don't think that we're able to. I mean, of course, some of them, community and economic development, absolutely, we can come up with some ideas for those. But I think what we're looking for more so is recommendations. Like, thank you for identifying them, but
Absolutely.
how about this transportation grant can help you do this? Or
Absolutely. So ordinance updates is I will say from here, is usually where those go to. So updates to a comprehensive plan or a borough-wide study of something. So I can certainly put together, we'll send this in an email with some additional information on each of them, if there's a resolution, if there's a match required, with more detail, and then we'll break down some possible applications as well.
okay, so I can just give you kind of a heads up. I do know that you've heard us say and heard our residents speak on it a million times about the traffic going over the bridge. So if one of these is going to be able to assist us with that, our dilemma at McDade Church. So if one of these would be applicable to that situation.
So let me make sure. McDade Church, we're talking about those improvements that are already happening, or is there further ones that we're not aware of?
I mean, it's because it's not done. If there's something else,
and that's
right?
on their way.
Where our problem spots
Absolutely. So I will clarify the second one, the Natural Fish and Wildlife Foundation. If possible, you already have a grant for partial funding for the Blessed Run Stream restoration, which is one of the grants we talked about last time, which I hopefully you guys got the exhibit of the proposed improvements. We could submit for additional funding so that hopefully you would not have to pay any of that project. So we could try and piggyback two grants together. That would be our goal if, that's a possible project. So I'll make sure I outline all of that and move forward. The transportation project grants usually come out more towards June and July. I know that there's one due July 31st. That is a really good one that we currently have a pending application for the intersection right out here, which they haven't announced yet. So based upon that, we'll wait to hear a little bit further. And
yeah, because I mean, if you're just waiting on us to try to identify, there are only 5 of us.
Absolutely. And I'll put these out here if there are areas that I'm not aware of or we haven't talked about, but I feel like by now we do have a good understanding, and we'll definitely provide further detail or recommendations moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Question. Is there a website or something where you can look these grants up to see exactly what they are?
I wish. I really do. No. So these are all dependent upon, some of these are state funded grants, some of them are county funded grants, some of them are not reoccurring every year. So TCDI is one of them that only comes around every 2 years. Sometimes the funding is focused towards a different area of the state. So unfortunately not. I will say the last one here, the Act 13, there are 6 programs hosted under that. So that website, if you go to if you search DCD Expert Team, that was very comprehensive and it outlines all the opportunities. Same thing with the previous one, DCNR C2D2. The website's very comprehensive, but you have to dive in individual websites. There is not a grade list somewhere, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Megan's our list.
Unfortunately, that is true.
All right. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right. Can we, which ones do you need to get done so you can be excused? Finance? Okay. All right.
The finance report is just that we are asking for consideration for February AP list. Also asking for consideration for January 2024 cash balance report. Asking council for consideration for the sale of the delinquent real estate taxes for 2023. So that resolution was actually sent to you all this evening for your review. It is an annual sale that we do with Municipal Revenue Services that will net the borough its real estate delinquent taxes upfront versus spread out over time. There is my report, and Madam President, I have to.
Thank you.
May be excused.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are ordinance and zoning.
And tradition.
Zoning application, 125 Chester Avenue, been approved for the grocery store. 100 Lincoln Avenue, replace garage addition in the rear of the existing home, that's been approved. And situate Ruskin for the shed, that's been approved. Hotspots in the borough have been 900 wire for gas station public works and codes. We're monitoring with PICO, and that's actually been corrected from my understanding. Franklin Francis has been cited for the church for the graffiti and non-removal of the lines. And 1219 Longacre, owners still working on cleaning up the property. More notices that have been sent out to Chicago. Which goes out 1100 Chester Avenue. Action items right now going on, working with Fitzgerald for Dennis Lang Laboratory. Work plans are submitted and reviewed and we approved. 404 Industrial, we got started about. And the new dumpster was paperwork, Director Simpson, the 3 items of the priorities, I guess. Fire-related issues regarding us and the goods department, 430 Holland Road, they had a house fire, house is uninhabitable until renovations are done. Applications for rental complexes have been sent out for renewal. Handicap renewal letters being sent out for February 1st. Need to appoint several zoning officers. Need to appoint members for planning commission, ordinance change, new ordinance for street permits for dumpster pods and indoor storage containers. Paid property maintenance abatements. The date is $707.38 for the month of January. Food department revenue for the month of January was $33,150.38. Workload, there was 47 violations, 12 resales, citations issued 30, request for action 13. Vehicle notices 1, demo cleanouts 1, construction contract registration 8, building permits 20, electrical 5, plumbing 7, mechanical 3, planning and subdivision, zoning use permits 3, and handicap 1. That's all I got, 1 through 6.
All right.
I actually have a question.
Councilor Roquel.
The home on Long Acre Boulevard,
Yep.
1219, that's another one. So I heard you say something about citations were issued for the homeowner to clean up or something like that.
Yeah, again,
So this is what the house is literally falling down. So why are we asking the homeowner to go back into it and clean it out or to be near the structure at all. The house literally has a tree through it.
So, from my understanding, which I don't know much about this problem because it was an ongoing issue before I was hired back in July. So I really haven't had any dealings with the elongated property. I know that's been Inspector White and Director Stokes and Inspector Worley helping out with those guys. So I don't know too much about it. I'm only going by what's here and what's left.
Well,
Deadline is 12, she was given a deadline of February 5th to get a quote, to get repairs. But the repair price she got, she came and told Mr. Stokes, it was like $4,200 to make the repairs. That was the number he told me, I don't know, he told me this on Wednesday.
Yeah, so I don't have any number figures here, and I wasn't relaying that information, but I talked with Ms. Criswell and Inspector Worley, who are overseeing the department being out, and we can try to get you guys some answers as soon as possible. I'll get back to you, Vice President Rowe.
no, don't get, I mean, bottom line is you really don't know about it, but this has been a long standing issue, but my concern is you see the back of the house with the tree stump and the bricks are away from the actual structure. So we're telling the homeowner to go in there and clean it up.
Hire someone to make repairs, which is what she was given a deadline of the 5th. And apparently she called back with the price, which I guess is wrong, and that's not repeated. So that was where they left it. That was the last communication, but I can follow up.
Yeah, so, I mean, are we gonna wait for the house to just go ahead and collapse? Should we wait for that?
We should get down that too.
Yeah.
So we're also, you're monitoring also Holy Cross Cemetery, the repairs to the fence. They had communicated there's a new owner of the cemetery. They were starting to make repairs to the fence, but you have to really keep on them constantly.
So have we started, I heard you mention a few citations and I'm hearing that are you saying that there's one citation or, because our instructions at our last meeting was that if they're especially repeat offenders, that the citations are daily so that they're compounded so they can get to the point that will allow us to be able to sue in court.
Citations issued, and my understanding, I've never seen one of these before the way it was done. It looks like court cases, one court case has been issued for the inspectors to go to out of 30 sent to the courthouse. Waiting to go to court now.
Okay.
I guess they're waiting for dates. That's just for the month of January.
So I mean the number. My question is about how often we're citing. So if someone is in, so let me finish, please. So if there's someone who's in consistent non-compliance, that they are being cited daily. For instance, the property at 1024 Church Lane, is that the address that you mentioned? That property should be cited daily for the graffiti. Like every day, every time, it should be cited until it's gone so that it can amass an amount that we're able to take action against the property. Because just living here with the blighted community is not, it's not going to keep your job either. You know, it's not going to keep us, we're residents, you know, so it's not going to, that's not how we maintain the quality of life in this community. So we need those properties cited daily. And then we need your office to take action against these properties that need to be condemned. And if that means improved communication between you and Mr. Kilkenny, then that needs to happen because we've had these conversations with them as well. So before our next meeting, we have 3 properties that we need to know what the timeline is for them to be condemned. And then when we return next week for our legislative session, any of those repeat offenders, we will expect that they have been cited daily. So that would be the report that whomever comes from the code department needs to make sure that and if we need to abate, then we do what we need to do. But we cannot allow them to have these properties just disintegrate in front of our eyes. That's taking all of our value down. Next comes crime. And we don't want to go with what's next after that. Okay? All right. We're all on the same team. Let's work together. All right. Thank you. Thanks for sitting in the hot seat. Yes, thank you. You're clear about all of this. Okay. All right, thanks. Public Works? That's the entrance of our community. You know, and what's right now at the entrance of our community is a building with no roof and a building right with graffiti. Like with this, that's not okay. That's not okay. All right.
Well, I mean, we have to be, you know, reasonable and fair across the board. You know, if the solicitor's office isn't getting the proper information, they can't do what they need to do with misinformation. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to start in the office here.
Absolutely.
But those three properties, we should be much closer to a resolution than.
I believe when we spoke with Mr. Kilkenny, there was 30 days. That's what we discussed. We're, by next week, it'll be 30 days. All right. Public Works.
And those properties have been abated. The graffiti's been removed more than once, probably 3 times this month, abated. So we're in the process. Like I say, fines every week, every day, makes sense. Absolutely
Okay.
makes sense. It's normally.
Okay.
I'll make sure that Andrew and the rest of the department works with me and we're on these 3 properties at least. They're it. There are better.
Okay.
People say, absolutely.
He's turning toward you.
Talking to the mic.
Talking to the mic. Talking to the mic, Mike.
All right. So my report is standing with all of you. I just have a few updates for some dates. Our e-waste, February 23rd, between 8 and 2. Our yard waste will be starting back up March 8th, between 8 and 2. We do not have an e-waste on Good Friday for the holiday. Our project with Aqua is ongoing. We've had small complaints about their progress, their ditches, nothing major. Yeadon Avenue is a bumpy ride, and it's going to be that way until it settles. There's not much we can do about it. They're doing the best they can. I monitor it every week. Our curb cuts, ADA ramps, handicap ramps have started as of Monday. There's a process going down West Cobb Street Parkway, Robin Road. There's a few others I can't remember right now, but they're in the process and we're getting them done. Storm sewers are being maintained. We did have some emergency call outs for rainstorms in January, our little snowstorm that we had. God bless us all. We're not getting any more. Back to that. Police vehicles have been maintained. Inspections are upgraded. Our COVID-19 spray has been done every week. Yeadon Borough Hall, Public Works, and Library has not stopped since COVID started. So we're still in compliance with that. Any other questions?
I do have one question. On West Cobbs Creek, I'm noticing in the park, and I know we're not responsible for the park, but it's facing us and it's ugly. It's just dead trees that may have fell, and it looked like.
Yesterday.
I'm sorry?
Yesterday, we cleaned them dead trees up from the storm prior in January, all the trees that fell.
Mhm.
We pushed them back as far as we can so that
Oh.
residents can walk through, walk their dogs. I have contacted the Parks Department. Those dead trees, they will not remove for us. They say it's a natural decaying process, and they want to leave them like that. And they told us they're absolutely not going to move them. So we pushed them back off the sidewalks so people can walk their dogs.
No, they're not. in the side, they're not on the sidewalks, they're actually in the park, but it's right there at the entrance of the park.
Connell, between Connell and Cypress,
Right.
we moved them yesterday, and I'm telling you, we moved them back
Even
75
further.
feet. Oh, no, they're gone. They're way back in the distance.
Okay, yeah, because it's just,
Oh, I know.
it's unsightly.
We did Chester Avenue where the tree fell,
Mm-hmm.
pushed that all back. It's unsightly, and people walk their dogs there. People go out and see the park. We took care of it. Take a look at it tomorrow. You
I'll
may have
take a
missed it.
look.
That's all.
Okay.
I also have a question. So the e-waste dates and times you mentioned, will they be up on the website?
They are on the website. They'll be on the website very shortly, but they're definitely in the printed calendar.
Okay, great.
And if you have any questions, just call. They're always on our answering machine at the shop.
Okay, great. And I have one more question. I'm not sure if it's under your purview or not, but there have been quite a few instances of gas leaks.
Mhm.
So, because we had one, matter of fact, on my street, 900 block of Myra, and then yesterday was around Cypress and Whitby area that they closed off. So, is a comprehensive study being done throughout the borough? Because if these pipes are old, we're at the point where they really need to be looked at
I will
and
check with
replaced.
Pico on that. The one on Holly Road or Myron Avenue has been there for I gotta tell you, a year.
Mhm.
And after the last call that went out, I called a gentleman from the gas company and pretty much told him that our mayor was very upset that we were left in the dark. They were not treating us very nicely, and they were out the next day to find this gas leak, and they found the gas. So we have to be a little nasty to them. Tell them,
Be
listen,
persistent.
this is where we live, and you guys have to take care of us. So,
Mhm.
and the other one, the gas company of Whippy and Cypress, they did that by themselves.
Okay.
There was a mismarking of gas lines, and they broke that themselves.
Okay.
But we were out there, myself, the chief, fire company, and evacuated probably about 12 houses until they fixed it. And gas is tough. Gas is old in the town, so
Yeah.
we're on it the best we can. It's a utility.
That's a good point. We've had a lot of gas issues. That big one up by Grace Court there and the apartment. Yeah, we've had a lot. So we should kind of hold that quo, however, or come to the bottom of that infrastructure
Exactly.
of our gas mains.
I don't know where.
Because it seems like it's popping up a lot.
It is happening a lot.
yeah.
You don't want to happen what happened
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, and because there was another one a day or two ago, I think.
Yes, we mentioned it.
Yeah, okay.
So once you speak with Pico, can you kind of circle back with us next week for
Absolutely.
update for your
If
report?
they have a plan. I don't know.
Or if they even know of existing ones, because it seems like it's a surprise to us when we hear about it, but if they're already there and they have a list of them and it's low priority because it's so many parts per million, then we should have that information at least available.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's probably cool.
All right. Public safety.
Before the chief comes, I just want to let the public know that we did restart our public safety meetings last month. So all the department's heads is on Zoom are present. The police chief, director of public works, Mike, Rufus, code, and we'll have also the head of there's a new head of new chief of fire department. So the next meeting will be on Saturday, March 23rd, and it should be on the website. The date should be on the website, but anyone could join or any resident can tune in. It's a public meeting. All right. So if you just want to glean or listen in, or you have suggestions or any kind of contribution, everyone's free to attend, and all the login information is also self-contained in the website. So it was a great first meeting, and I want to thank my co-host here, Jesse Peets. And with that being said, get the chief.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
The Yeadon Police Department responded to 1,309 calls for service in the month of January. We had 5 criminal arrests in the month of January. There was 1 for firearms not to be carried without a permit. 1 individual was arrested for involuntary deviant sexual intercourse with a minor. There was an arrest for DUI. There was an arrest for aggravated assault. And we also had an arrest for burglary. There was 11 traffic citations issued in the month of January. There were 673 parking tickets issued month of January. 4 summary arrests. They were 2 for harassment and 2 for disorderly conduct. As the mayor said, we had a public safety meeting with Councilor Peets, the co-chair. It went really well. I met with the Savage Group, and Madam Vice President, you were talking about the entryway, and I explained to them the Savage Group is a group of individuals that are prior addicted individuals to narcotics or drugs and alcohol, and also unhoused individuals. They were unhoused, and I explained to them the problem we have on the Philadelphia side coming in, and they're going to actually go down and talk to the individuals down there to try to get them help to see what they can do for them. I've also talked to Restore to try to maybe May Day to actually go down there, and I spoke to Mike at Public Works to team up maybe a day in May, May Day, Earth Day. We actually go down there and try to clean up our side of the waterway down there because it's a mess. I've talked to the individuals countless times. When you report it, they were camping down there, and unfortunately, they know not to camp on our side because it's Delaware County. But Philadelphia side, as I explained several times, and I've reached out to the Parks and Recs, they'll let them camp there. We have an ordinance they cannot camp in public parks. So that's why we'll move them out, but it's still an eyesore. So I'm working with that group to hopefully work together. With everything yesterday, I actually got a really good call today, a call that turned my frown upside down. I got a call from Madam Speaker, Joanna McClinton. She said, Chief, I understand you all went through a lot yesterday. If you need anything, blah, blah, but I have good news. And I said, what's that? And I forgot. I met with her in May. So this should have been reported. I held it up. The police department is getting $138,000 in a grant, meeting with Madam Speaker back in May, telling her we need it. So from 2023 to now, because these are all grants that are this was the grant that was written in 2023. So it's on a 2023 budget because, as you know, the state did not pass a budget. General Shapiro signed it about a month or so ago. So that was $138,000 from that grant. We also got $10,700 from a federal grant for overtime. We got a $4,500 grant from the gaming grant. We also got $10,000 towards our accreditation from the district attorney. So last year, calendar year 2023, the police department, we brought in $163,200 in grant money. And to the grant thing, we're hosting a grant school next week. We have a 2-day course that we're hosting, so we'll get 2 free seats, which is a $600 value. So we're hosting it in the auditorium. Already can clear it with the borough manager. So we get 2 free seats. So we're going to have 2 people. They'll still have patrol duties, but looking at grants. We're writing grants for as much as we can. I said, I don't care if it's basket weaving equipment. We realize we need shields after what happened yesterday, so we're going to look at grants for that, helmets, whatever we can. If you can let us know, we're going to keep pushing the grants to try to get as much funding as we can.
Excellent. Doing well with that too, Chief. Thanks.
And that would be my report.
So what are you going to use your lotto money for?
The 138?
Yeah.
That's going to be 2 vehicles. Glad you asked, Madam President. 2 vehicles, help with the accreditation process, and it's also going to help our body cam because we're having issues with our body cam. The previous grant was for the Motorola, but we're actually looking to do an Axon body cam, which is actually the Mercedes of body cams. They're also the tasers we utilize too, Axon. So we're looking at that. But I was, obviously with the situation, we were all kind of melancholy down there, and I'm running around the station going, we just got $138,000, which is that, and that's all the speaker. It's just building those relationships. So to that end, we will be inviting the speaker. I'll let everyone know. I had the opportunity to meet with the speaker, and I was invited to a showing, which you're going to probably say, why would cops go to this? Aftershock, which was an unbelievable movie. It talked about the infant mortality rate amongst African-American women. And I saw it this weekend, and I kind of, sitting in the audience, I raised my hand. I was talking about how, we need to get more involved with, more holistic approach to law enforcement. And they're like, would you mind Yeadon? And I'm like, so I kind of voluntold this. I'm like, Yeah, we'll do one, especially with the speaker. So I'll let everyone know. We're gonna host it. It's a 2-hour movie, and then with the kind of a question and answer, and it really opens your eyes. It really does with the inadequacies in healthcare, and having a wife and 2 daughters, you realize so. Because if men had to give birth, we won't have any children. I'll tell you that right now. So.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Oh,
Chief.
Councilor Beatty?
So now that we are fully staffed, I would like to see, it's not a question, actually comment, I would like to see more police doing traffic patrolling for the potholes at the intersections that I always talk about. Macomb Avenue, Union Avenue, of course, Bailey Road is like a rag speed event, and Church Lane after 3:00. So
Do-
like 6. It's like a
To your point, Counselor, and I should have brought it up, the officers are still in the 10-week training program in the field, and we adhered to that policy for insurance purposes. Once they're out, they'll be on their own, but it's already, the radio's already starting to pick up. Like, they're already, like, honestly, like, they're already starting to pick up. It's great to hear it's still on the radio, so thank you.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, Councilor Beatty, what she just said, we had a conversation the other day when there was a situation on Cypress Street, and there were 4 police vehicles that stopped a vehicle, and they were actually searching the vehicle. I thought they were our cops, but they were all Philly. And we knew nothing about it, so we had a whole block filled with Philadelphia police officers in our house, and we don't even know about it.
And the problem is, and I don't want to, and I'm not a radio guy, but I'll geek out on this. There's a thing called 800 megahertz. Philadelphia's on an 800 megahertz. And what that does, that encrypts the state. So you can't, if you get an accident in Philly and all of a sudden, well, actually, you get an accident here, you see all the records flying in because they can monitor with a scanner. So Philly switched to 800 megahertz. We're still on a 400 band megahertz. Mm-hmm. We're actually switching our radios now. Delco's switching. It's a whole county switch out. So once that, maybe there'll be interoperability where we can get on J-band is the emergency band in Philly. Mm-hmm. Before I got here and years ago when Philly was still on the 400 megahertz, they could actually monitor J-band. So if you would hear something kick off, they could, now it's, for example, the other day there was a stolen car. So I see it and I'm like, 4601, I'm behind that stolen car. It's going into Philly. Mm-hmm. Well, they have to physically get, patch over to Philly and let them know there's not that direct link. So hopefully that'll change. But you're right. It happens all the time. You'll see people come in where we'll go and we'll notify the radio like, hey, we're coming in. And a lot of times they may do that to, if they're pursuing a car and they shouldn't be pursuing a car, mm-hmm. and they might not go over radio. So you'll see cars coming in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The only reason why it's just kind of like, it's just scary these days and times simply because you hear so many times about people impersonating police officers. So, and that just happened. It was just reported on the news where someone was impersonating a police officer, had the shirt with the police, insignia on it, and knocked on someone's door. And that was just reported. So it's like, it was like four police cars. So, it's not that many crooks getting together like a gang and doing something like that elaborate, but
I think we just gave them an idea now, though.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
I know when to leave the stage.
Sometimes, let me just add to that. Sometimes it could be the U.S. Marshals, the Philly cops. There's certain contingent of Philly cops that are apportioned to the U.S. Marshals, and they could be on a job that emanates from Philly, but it's in Yeadon. They should tell us. They don't have to tell our police officers. So sometimes there's activity that stems from the U.S. Marshals. And I've known of some of those situations where they may come in and it could be really, really confidential where they don't tell anybody.
Well, I understand what you're saying. This wasn't confidential because this was out in the open, but from a safety standpoint, I just feel like it's important that we know what's going on. So even if it was one cop car and one officer from Philadelphia, but he wasn't legitimate, how would we know? You understand what I'm saying? So at least we would have our own in the area So we would feel like, oh, okay, this is legitimate.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is sometimes when they do have those legitimate situations, they should tell our police chief. And like I have a neighbor that's in the Philadelphia Police Department, but he's a U.S. Marshal. And he would say, hey, we're having a job tomorrow. We want your chief to know. We don't have to tell you. But out of courtesy, they usually do so that we know if you get a call, we know this what's legitimate or not. But they don't have to tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It sounds like switching to 800 megahertz will get us more information. All right. Do we have anyone from the fire department or emergency management?
I don't believe there's a representative today.
All right. So recreation?
Mr. Hunter? Yes. Come on up. I just want to say before Mr. Hunter comes up that we are looking for people to volunteer, obviously for Flag Day. If you don't want to join the recreation committee, that's fine. You can still volunteer for Flag Day separately. Like you just want to devote your day to Flag Day. So just send me your information or get in touch with Mr. Hunter via our email, or Mr. Hunter gave his number, I believe. So that's all.
So could I suggest that maybe we reach out to Ms. Sapp and have her create a form online so we can just, we may not have known that was available. So, just have her, create a sign up form so it can be digitized and, you can kind of keep track of your volunteers that way. All right. Thank you.
That would be good because we have a volunteer list. I think Hakima Jabbar sent it out. So we're kind of getting the ball rolling.
Shout out to Hakima. She's on Zoom.
Hello, Hakima. Just very quickly to Councilor Trueheart, if you would, and I don't know if I should be doing this, contact the school district. Not only yesterday, but Monday we had Yeadon resident killed in Darby, shooting, 15-year-old. And I have the track team, and we practice today, and the kids are just all over the place. They're asking me, why did it happen, that kind of thing. So it's a tough situation out here now. It really is. So if you could get in touch with the school district, I don't know if school's going to be open tomorrow or not. I assume they will be, but they canceled all afternoon activities today. So a lot of things are going on with our kids. It's unbelievable. Get ready for the 75th anniversary of Flag Day. Switch gears. Saturday, June 15th is the date. We're working hard. Councilor Beatty is beating us into shape, putting a lot of pressure on us, but I think it's going to be a good situation. We had an initial meeting on Tuesday, and I think we came up with some good ideas, but we definitely need the public to kind of join in with your ideas and concepts and that kind of thing. Location, whether we can have fireworks, we don't know yet, but we're gonna work on that. But as soon as you can get that information, we can get it out. We'll meet again, and we'll be meeting in between our recreation meetings, which are going to be held on this first Tuesday of each month. So just keep that in mind. Camp Garrett has called us, and they're looking to get started again. Scholarship information is out. We have it on the website, and we have it on Yeadon Neighbors, and any other place we could put it. We'll give some to the library so they can get those out. But again, this will be our 12th or 13th year with Camp Garrett. Fantastic program. We've sent about 300 kids over the years to Camp Garrett, who actually has campers, and some of them have been counselors, and some of them have found their significant other at Camp Garrett. And one of it is my son. So I'm all for
Camp Garrett, baby.
That's exactly right.
Mr. Hunter, have you shared the flyer with the schools?
Yes, we'll get them out to the schools. We got the flyer today. We'll get those out to the schools, library, as many places as we possibly can. So that's on the way. The Pennsylvania Resource Council and the Stormwater Coalition wants to sponsor a free composting workshop with free compost bins here in Yeadon. So I kind of said, okay, that's good. We'll do that. I'll find out next week what dates they're looking at. We're also going to have some more rain barrel workshops in Yeadon. So, and there are a number of people in Yeadon who have rain barrel workshops. There's some people who actually have rain gardens on their property. So we're becoming a green country town. So that's good. In light of what's happened with the school district, we're looking at some opportunities to work with young people on entrepreneurship, leadership development, and some things that they can do with their on-the-job training. Instead of having the on-the-job training, it's okay to work at Giant and work at the supermarkets, but we want to get some opportunities to meet with the managers of Giant. We want our kids to become managers. You know, we have a whole bunch of Giants around here, and they're food opportunities, and it's really agribusiness. So we want to start to turn our young people on, especially they can be regional managers for Aldi's, for Giant, and from other places. But I think we've got to get some real opportunities for our kids to start to develop some job skills. So we're going to be working on that with the rec department.
So sounds like Philly's best steak company might be looking to
Exactly.
Jesse Pete's got his start there. So
Bankroll
let's make sure
the Flag Day.
But
We
those
try
are the
to-
kinds of opportunities we're talking about.
right.
As I mentioned before, a couple of residents and I went up to the farm show in Harrisburg. People don't realize that Pennsylvania is a large agricultural state.
It is.
As people used to say, Philly on one end, Pittsburgh on the other, and everything in the middle is Alabama. So it's a huge agricultural state. And those job opportunities in agribusiness, usually urban kids don't think that they can go into agribusiness because we're on the receiving end of all the food and fiber. But we need to be in the middle of situations. So we have a couple of projects that we want to do looking at supermarkets in this area. You know, the Giant in Lansdowne, what does it sell? How do they get their food? What does their health food look like? Is there a difference between the Giant in Lansdowne and the one in Havertown? Size-wise, selection, all of those things. Those are the types of things we need to be doing. So we're going to try to take a look at that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all you do.
Madam President.
Mayor?
Yeah, real quick. So that we're all on the same page, I want everybody to know that we have invited for Flag Day all the legislative representatives. Letter went out to John Fetterman, Senator Fetterman. Letter went out to Senator Casey. Our state senator Anthony Williams. Joanna McClinton, County Council. So we want to make this really big. It's the 75th. So letters did go out inviting them officially. And we're going to continue to follow up on that. And if you make it big, if you build it, they'll come. Yes. So we want.
I'm gonna get in touch with you, but we're possibly inviting, we have to go through Clear Channel to possibly invite Patty Jackson to MC once again. So we need to get her scheduled to see if that's available. She's not gonna be available the whole time, but we'll talk about what can happen with the program.
I'd like to invite the Roots too.
Oh. Yeah.
All righty.
I'm related to the drummer.
Yeah, because, well, Amir Questlove's father dates a woman who's right now.
Ooh, y'all putting people business in the show.
Oh, yeah.
My friend. Thank you very much.
So.
Does there in your report, Councilor Beatty, does there in your report?
And it's my report.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, let's talk.
All right. So, all right. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you for all of those attending on Zoom. I look forward to many more productive meetings. Our meetings aren't typically this long. What we can look forward to at our next meeting, it will strictly be a voting meeting. All of the reports here will be accepted as submitted with periodic updates if there are any between now and next week. So next week is strictly our voting meeting. We should be in and out. All right. Thank you so much. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
This meeting is adjourned.
Aye.
Actually, it's the, so this,